Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. Tonight, we are at the Aztec Theatre to welcome back our prodigal sons, the brightest from here in the Alamo City. Brings me great pleasure to welcome Mark V of Nothing More. Sir, welcome to our program.
Thanks for having me, Rob. It's good to see you again.
I didn't want to attempt that last name and mess it up.
It's all right. Vollelunga.
Vollelunga. There you go. Mark, thank you so much, first of all, for your time today. I know how busy hometown shows can be, so I appreciate your time, sir.
Oh, it's no problem. I mean, yeah, you know, it was 10 years ago that we were doing an interview at Scout Bar. Yeah. So it's wild, and it's like, I mean, it's hometown, it's family, you're from here, so it's, got to support the home team, you know?
Oh, yeah. You got to, and you know, deeper than that, I'm just a big fan of the band. Always have been, always will be. And so when this got confirmed, I was so kind of giddy. I was like, yeah, I get to talk about Nothing More because, you know, I've been following your career since 2009. And really, I kind of feel that was even though there were a couple of records before The Few Not Fleeting, that was really the beginning for me as a fan and for this kind of new era of the band. So lots to talk about. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, I noticed that from The Few Not Fleeting to kind of like the self-titled, I saw and I heard a transition musically with what Nothing More was delivering. And it just seemed like you guys kind of stepped it up from the traditional just, you know, bass guitar, drums, and really just added this huge amount of sonic landscape into the band. And I was like, wow, this is so like on a whole new level. How did that kind of happen for the band? Because obviously, to me, it was like, you know, they definitely stepped it up a notch. And I don't know how that happened in the studio or if that was a conscious decision to do that.
No, well, thank you for the kind words. I mean, we would all like to hope that we're getting better and not worse. Really, you know, it comes with taking more time with things, and in general, we always try to broaden and grow everything instead of one area. It's not like, okay, this is just going to be a heavy record. Like, let's focus on the riffs and just the riffs. You know, it's lyrics as well. Like, let's go heavy emotionally. We always all tinker with new sounds as far as like guitar effects go, and Johnny's heavy on the production side of things, so it's like looking up new plugins, new toys to mess with and things like that. We're always super hands-on with everything, and we take a long time. That's part of our process for sure. We won't rest until every song is all the way there. We don't believe in filler, and even to the point as to where, you know, there's lots of segue tracks and instrumentals and things like that, and we end up holding on to those little bits of musical parts that didn't make it into another song, and like, well, maybe we can make an instrumental out of this. Right. And honestly, like, some of my favorite songs are like instrumental songs, and have like similar themes to kind of like on our album. Like I know the album Dredge, El Cielo album is incredible, and it's a big concept album about sleep paralysis, and we all love that record, and really affected, I think, into the process into making the past two records for sure.
You know, the stories we tell ourselves came out in the fall of 2017. It's already been like almost 2 years. Can you believe that?
It is crazy, and we're still going. Yeah. It's a long cycle, and we're very grateful for the response. It's been overwhelming, and it's so cool to, you know, be here today. We sold out the Aztec Theatre. Wow. Feels great. The last day of the tour, it's like a great homecoming, and we couldn't be more proud and blessed to kind of have such a resounding response on the album and on this tour, and really for the future too.
And that reception has really kind of been mirrored all over the world. You guys across the country debuted on number 15 on the Billboard with this record. You guys got nominated for 3 Grammys. I mean, it's really just kind of amazing and outstanding, you know, that a band from San Antonio can really break out. How gratifying and rewarding is that for you as a musician and just personally?
Oh, very. I mean, that's, you know, being Grammy nominated is definitely something that you shoot for and you hope to achieve, as any artist does. So that's amazing, and really I feel like our success has been very gradual in the best of ways. I'm happy that immediately, 10 years ago it wasn't, because we didn't make the mistakes that we needed to make. We didn't perfect ourselves in our live show. Dan hadn't created Scorpion Tail and Drumtron yet. You know what I mean? Johnny was still setting up his kick drum with legs, and he had a snare and a hi-hat too. And it's maturity.
Yeah.
It takes time. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm happy and proud of our journey and every step that was necessary.
Even though we're already, a year and a half into the cycle of the stories we tell ourselves, and you guys are still supporting this record, I do want to touch upon it because, there might be a few people out there who have not yet come on to the record. You touched upon some of the deep lyrical themes, and I remember, like with The Few Not Fleeting and with the self-titled, there was always kind of these deep lyrical themes, like Johnny's mother's battle with cancer, and then some of the relationship betrayals. If there was a central theme for the stories we tell ourselves, what would you say that is?
I'd say it's very introspective. Just like the title suggests, it's you can believe one truth, your whole life, or really it's like. I may have believed something extremely different 10 years ago that I believe now. And that was the story I was telling myself. It was until it's seeing the other side of the story type of thing. And it's like sometimes that can be, very blinding, just like the album artwork suggests too. It's like we're our shadow side, our subconscious side, we're blinding ourselves from all aspects of the truth. Just because something looks different doesn't make it wrong. And I think, like in the song "Funny Little Creatures," it's funny how I can point my finger at everyone else, and not, and when in reality it's like it's me, and everybody wants to change the world, nobody wants to change themselves. Right. So I'd say a big theme of the record is very introspective and just looking back on yourself. We have to, if we want the world to be a better place, it starts here.
One of my favorite tracks, if not the favorite track of mine, is Fade In, Fade Out. And I know you had a big part in that track. You talk about your father, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are kind of almost a new father too, right?
I am. My son is 6 now.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's wild, and his name is Phoenix. My wife and I couldn't decide on a name for a long time, and actually one of his first sonogram pictures, one of her students, I would say, she was a drug and alcohol abuse counselor, so one of the kids there actually saw it and said, "Oh wow, it looks like a phoenix." And she told me that, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it does." And he's upside down, his legs are kicking in the air, that look like the beak, and it looks so cool. And we've saved that picture, we framed it, and that whole idea was kind of encompassing of the song, the idea of the rebirth, of that passing of the torch, the fade in, fade out process that is cyclical and that we all see, and we all, and it really made sense when I hadn't seen my parents in a while, and I went to go, hang out, and I just saw my dad for the first time, and I just said, "Dad, you're old," and that right there, like, that's something we all experience that we can't escape, and it's very sad, but it's true. And my dad's always been a very, very good father, and he always wears the dad hat, and if there's anything he taught me, it's just like all in the chorus, it's never give up, follow your heart, and never settle, and make your mark, so to speak.
Awesome. That's beautiful, because I guess in order for you to grow with your art, you have to grow as a person too. And all these different things in your life help you to do that. But anyway, thank you so much for sharing some of those details. Now, how much longer do you plan to support this record?
That's a good question. We are going to Europe. We take 2 weeks off after today. And then we go to Europe with Papa Roach for like 3 weeks in the UK, and we'll do a week headliner stuff. Then we come home and we have pretty much all summer off. Cool. And there's something that I can't announce now. We really thought that we were going to be completely done, but a really cool offer we just received, and so we will be doing stuff in September and October. So we'll still be writing and slowly making progress on the next record for sure, but maybe not in the jam room yet, so to speak. Definitely after that, I can tell you I'm ready for a more normal routine schedule to where I can actually go home and be an available father and husband. So,
and that's why I asked, because I think people are already saying, these guys have been on the road since the fall of 2017, right? You guys started touring right before the record came out.
Yeah, it was really March of 2017. Right?
I remember, and I think people are already clamoring like, oh, when is the band gonna get back in and write new music? And I remember the self-titled came out in 2014. This one came out in 2017, so like 3 years there. So, coming up in 2020 is going to be the 3-year mark again. Would you like to have a new record out in 2020? Is that what you anticipate, or will it be longer than that?
I would say longer, just because I know us, and we take a while, and that's how long things take. So I would predict that. The other guys are saying earlier, but we'll see.
Yeah. Don't rush it. It's worth the wait.
Absolutely.
Worth the wait.
Yeah.
So great. I'm glad that you guys are keeping a moderate pace. You don't want to kill yourself out there, and being on the road for 2 years to me is really kind of amazing. So as you think about writing for the new music, obviously you're probably doing it in silos right now. How do you kind of feel exactly, because you're the guitarist? What are you coming up with? Are you kind of leaning more towards the melodic, the rock? What are you feeling right now? Because you guys have been out with a lot of cool bands too.
No, yeah, very true. We've definitely sort of spanned a lot of different genres, and it's been really cool. And I'd say kind of just like that, it's I've written some songs on ukulele already, and then I'm anticipating getting an 8-string guitar here in maybe a few months. So that sort of says a lot. And just like our band, and I feel you can look at our history, we try to grow outward this way, and it's like the heavier will be heavier, the emotionally it will get even more so, deeper, if you could even imagine that. And we'll keep trying to just make good songs wherever the song leads. I've sent like 4 or 5 songs, like full songs musically, to Ben now, and he's programmed drums to them, and they're all pretty heavy right now. So it's pretty cool. There's some maybe like Gojira type sounds, some Seven Dust type sounds for sure, and some cool like Dead Letter Circus stuff. It's just I think it spans the gambit.
Are we gonna? And I have to ask this because I'm really a big fan of it. Are we gonna hear Alan Watts again on the new record? His spoken word stuff, because you did on the self-titled, then on this record. So is he coming back?
Right. We for a moment there we debated, like, should we go with a different guy or something, and because we still have these instrumental pieces, and we really like tying all the songs together with those little audio segments. But as of now, I would say, Alan's our guy. For sure.
Yeah, I love it, man. I actually sometimes will just go straight to those tracks just to hear him talk and hear his philosophy. For some of you people who don't know who we're talking about, Alan Watts is an English philosopher, spoke a lot about Buddhism and stuff like that. Really cool.
Yeah, he's a great mouthpiece of the East, but he kind of brought, like, he made sense of the Eastern philosophy to the West. Like it's because they're all about kind of nothingness, and we're kind of about the exact opposite. So it's really neat how he phrases a lot of things.
I remember back in 2009 when we spoke, and you and Johnny were saying, we're gonna wait around for the right deal to come around to help with our career, and we're not in a rush. We're going to wait. And then when I heard that you guys got the deal with 11/7, I said, they must have done really something right to get these guys on board. How's the relationship been with the label? How long do you anticipate? Will the future releases from Nothing More continue to be on 11/7?
Yeah, definitely. We're very happy with them. Everything kind of all happened at once for a long time, right? We just kept getting no's. We go do this showcase, and every the same answer would come back, which would be, this is cool, we like what you're doing, but rock isn't working. That's it's not selling. We don't really want to risk it with you guys. And then it was kind of weird. All of a sudden in like late 2013, everybody wanted us. There were like 10 labels all sort of bidding on us, if you will, and which was nice. We actually got to take our time, get to know these people. Right. Okay, how's the vibe? What are the bullet points here? And go over here. And honestly, we went with the most passionate, which was 11/7, and there wasn't a 360 deal or whatever, so it's like we could keep all our merch and everything like that, and our touring, which was huge. And they had a great radio record, and that's definitely something that we were looking for, as we really felt we had some strength there, and that's definitely panned out, and we're very, very fortunate and blessed for all of that. Stoked to be on 11/7.
They sure as hell gave you guys a really good video budget. Or did they? I don't know, but I've seen a lot of really cool videos. They look like high budget things to me.
We have had a lot, and honestly, like obviously there's only so much money out there, and they only have so much money sometimes, and budgets are budgets. You try to save money for other things too. So we totally understand, and Johnny's, honestly, like, hats off to him. He's great. He visualizes better than the rest of us, and just kind of seeing those things, and editing is really his skill. So I'm glad to have him there. And actually, we will be doing a fade in, fade out video that I'm super excited about, and there'll be some Easter eggs in there too. So.
You guys, in the newest video, the one that came out in December, the Let 'Em Burn video. You guys kind of, when I was watching it, I said, where are the guys in the band? And then you guys finally showed up in the video. But a lot of great acting and production done in those videos. I love them all.
Yeah, it was fun. I really love that director, Ben at Dominar. He's got some great videos with other artists, mainly the ones from Don Bracco there. If you haven't watched any of those, you should. Yeah, he's got kind of like some like bits of comedy kind of throughout there that are sort of dark and really, really creative.
Mark, as we get near the end of this interview, just a couple of other questions. You mentioned Ben, your drummer, a little while ago, and I know that you guys have gone through some drummers throughout the years, obviously because Johnny's an accomplished drummer. Is Ben kind of going to be the guy now to stay in this band and be part of this band?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, he's kicking ass, and he was a huge part of the last record. Really let him in, and honestly, he's got a great sound recording background. So he and I did kind of like all Studio B stuff, or like we would record plenty of guitars, bass, and background vocals, kind of while Johnny was more like reamping guitars and bass, and I would go do vocals with him and be more the engineer over there too. But yeah, Ben's been excellent. I mean, honestly, the first rehearsal we had with him, when he just had 2 weeks to basically learn the set, learn a headliner set, and fly in, it's like we play the first note, and it's like, yeah, he's got this. This is the dude. Yeah.
Did he do the drums on the record though? Did he record?
Yeah, everything. Everything is all Ben, which is Paul did like half of, or all but 3 songs. I think Johnny did 3 or 4 songs on Self-Titled, but Paul did, the rest. But this is the first record that where Johnny didn't play any drums on, and I think it speaks volumes. Ben's a badass, and they are both super skilled in different ways, and they really complement each other. So we still have a very strong rhythm section for sure.
Was it hard for Johnny to let it go?
I think he would say no, actually, because I think he feels so confident in Ben's abilities.
And Mark, one last question. The last 5 years, maybe or more, must have just been one hell of a ride for you guys. I mean, seeing all this success and people coming on board and just loving your music, and you guys sell out shows. Not just here in San Antonio, all over the country and in Europe and all over the place. So. If you had to think about one highlight for the last couple of years, maybe what would be a big highlight for you, or something that you felt really, really touched you as a person?
Yeah.
In this crazy, touring life that you really live now.
Yeah. It's hard to name just one. I'm definitely blessed and grateful for every aspect of the journey, kind of like I was talking about. Although one memory kind of does stick out. And this is, sorry to get morbid or whatever, but going back to Fade In, Fade Out, I remember in Detroit meeting this guy named Mark, ironically, and he kind of rekindled his relationship with his kids, and he was basically found out he was gonna pass, and we got he sent me an email, and I read it, and I was just, and he wanted that song to be played at his funeral, and that was just kind of overwhelming to me. It's just hearing these stories from people and how much they connect and latch onto these songs, and how it helps them get through things or benefits their life. And that to me, it's like, I did it. Like job well done, as in, like, that's how powerful music is, and I'm so grateful to be a part of the greater movement that is music and that is love.
And that is so personal to some people, and I'm sure there are many stories like that you and I don't even hear about. Great response, Mark. I mean, I was expecting you to say, oh, and we played in front of 80,000 people, but really it's more the people component of it, and that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, you're right, and obviously I guess the other one would be like, oh, meeting Bruce Dickinson, or playing with Guns N' Roses in Barcelona.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's
which is wild.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about people, and I always tell people that I talk to this day, I said, this business is all about relationships, man, and people, because we're all going to leave this place sooner or later. So let's make our presence known and our impact known. Mark, thank you so much, sir.
You got it, Rob.
Thank you so much for everything. Any last words? Anything you want to share with fans around the world who will see this interview? Anything I missed?
No, I don't think so. New music eventually. We'll be playing more this year.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thanks, Rob.
You're welcome, sir. Remember, everyone out there, in case you are one of the few people out there who doesn't have the new record from Nothing More, it's called The Stories We Tell Ourselves, out on 11/7 Records. Be sure to look for it right now. You saw the man, Mark V of Nothing More, only right here on the big program.
No one ever wants to change this.